Hello, everyone. It's Cheryl Millett live at 8 Wednesdays or every other Wednesday. And here tonight, we're going to talk about, yes, omegas. And there's this omega drug. And I'm going to tell you all about that or what I've learned. And then also what fats to avoid. There are a number of fats obviously out there, from real food to highly processed. And in some cases, there are certain fats that you want to start to avoid. But how do you know if they're in the foods? And really, some foods are unexpected that they have them in, and I'm going to talk about that as well. The only other thing I kind of want to bring up at this point is when we think of omegas, there is a new source on the block, but not new like the fish oil supplements. Actually been around for a long time, which is the mammalian or aquatic mammal blubber. And that's quite a mouthful, but we need not shy away from something that has been nutritious for various cultures and can, including our own, and I won't say own, the peoples that have been here in Canada to the north, the Inuit people, not Eskimo people, but the Inuit people, they have been consuming the seal blubber for a very long time. There's been, Russia and Norwegian countries as well, and even to the south, where seal has been in the, I think Africa. I think they've had some abattoirs there for seals, and possibly Australia as well, but in the further south, colder waters of the south. So the sources then, what you're going to be familiar with is fish oils, or fish, and then plant and all the different plant sources, primarily a lot of them that they talk about as far as supplement goes and consuming is the, let's say, nuts. Walnuts specifically is a good one, a good balance, but they also go rancid quickly. And chia seeds they talk to as well, but all the vegetable seeds, corn oil, and soybean oil, those kind of things, they have what we call fatty acids. Well, fats are fatty acids, but the polyunsaturated fatty acids, which are the ones that are liquid primarily from the plant, versus the olive oil, which is mono unsaturated, and then the butter and coconut oil being saturated. And the polyunsaturated, there's a group in there which they call essential fatty acids, which is our body doesn't make them. And from these essential fatty acids, can they supposed to convert, and or they'll make the other fatty acids. But there's fats in a lot of food. The idea is to have the real food, the whole fats, those kind of things. So let's get back to the drug, or the omega drug. I first heard about it from my husband when he said there was a stock price that went up, and they say they have this new omega-3 drug. And I brought up the website here, Vasepa, VASEPA, I'll put the link down below, is actually the name of this drug. It sounds like a drug, doesn't it? I'm just going to bring it up here because I want to read some things about it. For many years now, it's been told that the fish oils may not be what you expect. They may not, or have not, according to research when they look at it, not lived up to par, up to speed, up to what the research shows. Now, fish is different than us. So quite frankly, it may be very much because it's just a different structure. It's a different profile. It's a different, shape when we think of the triglyceride molecule, that it actually is different than us. We're as humans. So maybe it's the fat for fish and what they need, and that's kind of the end of that. The cod liver oil wasn't even something that was consumed for the omegas. It was consumed for the vitamin A, and the vitamin D. And it's called liver oil, not all these fish. So here's Vasepa, and in the very top of the page, it will actually say, I'm going to go from top to bottom, but just slightly, prescription Vasepa. So this is a prescription, is different from unproven fish oil supplements. So here's the deal. You have this common fish oil that is abundant on this planet, and we have these fatty acids that they realize that we need in our body. You can see where I'm going with that. This is a health industry that we have, and business is business. Nothing wrong with that. So here you have this common fish oil, and what they're saying here is, well, it's not good enough just in its whole form. Fish oil has not been proven, and here as they say, Vasepa, if I'm saying it correctly, is different from unproven fish oil supplements. So how is it different? What it says here, it's pure EPA. Now, EPA is a particular omega-3, and they talk to it being for heart health. But we're talking here a drug. We're talking not a whole food. We're talking an extraction or some sort of a denaturing of the other ingredients in there, a removal. I'm not sure how they would do it. It's probably proprietary. Now, talking to my neighbor last night, he said, knowing that I'm very much into omega-3, and he mentioned he'd been hearing on CBC News, which is Canada Broadcasting here in Toronto and across Canada, and they had been talking, boasting, or all excited about, there's this new omega-3 drug, and it is going to help with or reduce heart attack and stroke. Now, just because I read the website on Monday, be it Tuesday night, my neighbor mentions this, and it's like, whoa, seems a big thing. So I mentioned to him, I actually looked at the website, and here when we think about important information, they tell you that it is, Vasepa is a prescription medicine used along with low-fat and low-cholesterol diet. You don't want to be on a low-fat, low-cholesterol diet. Okay, I mean, if you're taking tubs of oil in, I mean, that might be a different story, but whole fat, real food is the way to go. And we need cholesterol. We need cholesterol for the brain. It's more about managing the processed sugars and the processed foods and even these processed fats. So we need healthy fats. And this is used along to lower high levels of triglycerides. So certain people have high levels of triglycerides for whatever reason. And so we have to make that distinction. Everybody's going to have triglycerides, and it's a matter if you have low triglycerides or very high triglycerides. We do want to have them there. Now, it is not known if Vasepa changes your risk for having inflammation. Now, I don't know why they say inflammation of the pancreas. And it is not known if Vasepa prevents you from having a heart attack or stroke. And this is what the neighbor was saying. Now, I actually brought up a New York Times, and this would be September the 25th, so yesterday. So it probably went all over the airwaves, crazy with this, something that's going to help you. And what they say on here is they say, a large clinical trial found that the drug called Vasepa sharply reduced the rate of cardiovascular events in people with a history of heart disease or type 2 diabetes, according to early results that were announced on Monday. Now, it's interesting. That's a lot of information right there. Whereas the website, Vasepa, which is the actual drug website, doesn't make any of those claims. The only claims that it really talks about is lowering high levels of triglycerides. That's it. And is there possible side effects? Absolutely. I mean, if you have allergies, if you have liver problems, most common side effect is joint pain. And then you just have to talk about other side effects, of course. So I'm not sure what the dose is dosage is for this. I was looking around and it did seem like it was like 3 grams or something. And for some reason they have a direct shipment, so you actually pay for yourself. I'm not sure how the prescription is going to work that way, but here you have, again, a drug. They have taken something and then purified it, and again, it's from fish oil. So how does EPA, taken out of fish oil, work any better than the EPA that was in fish oil and has not shown to be effective? So there's a lot of information, and as the New York Times says, it's early results. Now, I will confess, I have not read the trials or anything. I was just exploring this late today based on what my neighbor said. So yeah, large doses of EPA, it's omega-3, and it is definitely from fish oil, the drug, and so forth. Anyway, so I will report on that in a couple more weeks when I get a chance to do that. And absolutely, I did bring up they do say that there's approximately a 25 relative risk reduction. And this all has to do, again, with the, probably has to do with the triglycerides. And I'm going to read that more. So the other thing I wanted to talk about is, so omega drug, yes. If you can get it from the real food, why not? If there's a reason why you are having heart issues or high triglycerides, I would just suggest that you try the seal oil. The seal oil, specifically the OM, which is raw, they make claims like lower stroke, secondary stroke by 70%. I'm just throwing this out here because I can't read Chinese. And so on the World Wide Web there, it's not easy to see what they're saying. And it's hard to find. They make claims about lowering cholesterol. They make claims about this and that. But here in Canada, we can't make those claims. But in China, they make those claims. So if I had my wish and my desire for people to live healthier would be to check, what's the whole cause for it anyway, when we think of balanced lifestyle. And the next topic I'm going to talk about is the fats that we've been putting into our body, which is the highly refined processed vegetable oils. So forget about the fish oil. The fish oils are a processed, they're processed food. Most of it's refined, and even then it's not like us, and I'll talk more to those things. But here, I don't want to show the name, but let's just say here's a little jar of garlic. So I ordered this from the place where I get my vegetables and fruits from, and I just saw it there and thought, great, I'm making some pesto for the first time. I'll check it out. I know it's just a small jar. I took a taste of it because it does say organic garlic puree, and I took a taste of it and I'm going, and it really tastes like garlic. So what's in here? Should have looked at the ingredients first before I actually bought it. There's 4 ingredients in here. I was expecting 1. I was thinking they could can or jar some garlic very easily, but obviously not. So you're going to check your labels as well, and preferably before you buy it. But here, organic garlic, yes. And the second ingredient is organic soybean oil. I avoid the refined soybean oils, canola oils. Avoid. And the next one is water. And then the next one is citric acid. It does not taste like, I love garlic. And when you put a little piece of garlic in your mouth or you have some garlic from some food, it tastes like garlic. This doesn't really taste like garlic. It's somewhere like in between. I can tell you it's garlic, but it's not that one. So whether it's organic soybean oil, organic vegetables of any nature, these organic oils are highly refined, bleached and deodorized, no different than the canola oil, the non-organic ones. They're all refined, bleached, degummed, some other processes that can kick in there. But basically, they're taking these oils and making them into a very, how can I say it? I'll just say it, a dead food, a dead oil. Yes, it's lubricating. Yes, when you use it in all of the sauces, it makes things flow, makes things more loose, so you can move it around, coat things, toss things in, but it's in, as also as far as cooking goes, using it. So all the fried stuff, even baked. I mean, you put oil in, there's a taste to oil in a sense. So it's kind of somewhat of a flavor perhaps to the food beyond sugar. But I've heard somebody say this is the lubricant of the food industry, and I used to purchase vegetable oil, be part of that in the purchasing department, vegetable oils. Now, what do I say to the companies who actually purchase vegetable oils when it's such an industry, when they have lobbyists fighting and legal and stuff fighting for them? But this is not real food. So if I'm just going to advocate you consuming real food and not highly processed food, I'd say that for the sugars. And we have to recognize that some people aren't going to get this message. Some people aren't. They're going to go for convenience, and that's their choice. That's their choice. But for those who are trying to choose and to navigate all that information out there, trying to make decisions, especially here in Canada with the food guide, they promote highly canola oil. And that there is more of a balanced canola oil with omega-6 to omega-3. That'll be for another talk for the next time. But those are really the two things that I wanted to speak about. Was, yes, the Vascepa, which is the new omega-3 drug, just pure EPA. And then, yes, your food. So if you're wanting to learn to avoid and get into healthier fats, yes, organic olive oil, probably better, one that is higher in antioxidants, because most oils will go rancid over time or oxidize, and it depends on how you store it. Some a whole lot less than others. Like the raw seal oil is naturally stable. They do refine the seal oil, many of the other products or all of the other products, because that's just a standard processing. The third thing I wanted to talk about just briefly here, but probably should make it the topic in choice of first and the longest time spending on it, is actually nerve damage. Nerve damage can happen anywhere in the body. Nerve damage is also called in the medical industry or the medical field is neuropathy. Neuropathy is nerve damage. The two groups of people that are susceptible to it, that they talk to, and then the third group is idiopathic, which is they do not know why. But the first two have to do with the chemotherapy drugs that when taken, they cause 100% of the time neuropathy, probably to varying degrees. Would it affect the mind? We quite often hear the memory's not the same and maybe never come back. So we want to share this information with people that it is going to help. There's many people going through chemotherapy. Unfortunately, hopefully we can change that. But in the meantime, while that is their choice and that is their level of comfort to get chemotherapy, they can also take the sublingual oil and benefit from that. The research is taking 3 teaspoons. It's not published yet, but that's what they were doing in trials with supposedly great results, which I don't have the details. And then the other group is people who have diabetes, specifically those ones. Type 1 are definitely on the medications, but type 2, they would be on the medications from what I understand. That is make an impact on the cardiovascular system, and then go on to make an effect on or causing nerve damage and making an effect on the nerves, calling it neuropathy. So many of the conditions from diabetes, which they'll say right off the top, it is premature death, basically. The quality of life that they have is different, and if they're on type 1, they're definitely on medication for insulin, to manage their insulin levels. Well, I feel that these medications are partly to blame. I haven't found one type 2 diabetes is controlling theirs with diet that actually has neuropathy, but I'd love to understand if that is incorrect. So here you have these medications, they're taking them, it's affecting the cardiovascular system, and once this cardiovascular system shrinks, that means less nutrients and less oxygen into the, let's say, the peripheral nerves. So the neuropathy tends to start fingers, toes. But as it progresses, and they measure it in the corneal nerve fiber length, which is what the research was done with the omegas. And this is how they understand how it's progressing for those who have diabetes and may eventually progress to the neuropathy and get lower limb amputation or kidney disease. But the other thing is blindness. So blindness is also one of those things that happens. It's actually neuropathy. And there's no way to reverse any of this. So let me repeat that. There's no way to reverse. The only intervention that is taking place is to give these people pain medications. That's right, pain medications. The neuropathy is painful, and it's like pins and needles, and there may be heat, and they can't feel their feet, which is quite dangerous when it comes to, you can't feel your feet, you don't know if you're standing in something too hot, you don't know if you've even cut your foot. Ulcers may form, and then we can think of infections and so forth. So neuropathy, back to neuropathy. Could be diabetes related, could be chemo treatment related, or it could be something different. And quite often when I've heard about people having neuropathy, they have a history of drugs or medication. And there's neuropathy. But neuropathy, you don't want neuropathy because that's the whole thing, set up the wiring in your body to actually communicate everywhere within your body. So you can't move a muscle in your body unless the nerves are sending the signals through your muscle to contract or relax, those kind of things. So very, very important, your nervous system. Now back to the diabetic neuropathy. In the research done at University of Toronto with the Neurobasic, so if you're going to CherylMillett.com, the Neurobasic is just straight up seal oil. I do love the one with vitamin D, and I love the one with vitamin D and vitamin A. But for the research, they just used straight up seal oil, and I can understand why you don't want to question, was it the vitamin D? Now let me hear these figures as far as the improvement that people with type 1 diabetes got within a year on just 2 teaspoons of the omega-3, in this case now named Neurobasic. That actually resulted in, now first I'll say on average 29% nerve growth in the corneal nerve fiber length. That's what they were measuring before and during and after. But for the people that were high risk, actually had a nerve growth of 61%. So I don't know about you, but when it comes to my eyes, and thinking about other people's eyes, I would definitely want them to keep their eyesight, as long as possible. And as far as walking about and not having to get lower limb amputation, absolutely. Well, any of the many side effects that come with diabetes. So I want to just talk to you about that. Some people will ask me, well, Cheryl, I hear about neuropathy. I do not have neuropathy, but you do have nerves. And if you want to nourish the nerves ongoingly, and we can think about all these mental illnesses, We can think about how fatty acids or the essential fatty acids help with managing inflammation, which is part of every disease. Anything with itis, cancer, depression, they will find inflammation there. It's just part of every disease. No doctor will actually say otherwise in research. So here's the deal. When it comes to sharing this information, which I will do ongoing, the researchers that actually do the research don't, they find this information, they're passionate, they go on to win awards, they share this with the medical community, perhaps even around the world, especially with the neuropathy, because this is a nutraceutical intervention, not them taking all of these pain meds, which are problematic. So it has been shared, it has won awards, but their mandate would not to be shared with the public. That is not their job. You can see it's not their job. Their job is actually to do research. So if you're listening to this video, then I would highly recommend, or at least suggest, or when the opportunity arises, to actually share this information about, nerve health, just in general, just even prevention. We think of Alzheimer's and all those mental illnesses and even concussions. I mean, we want the brain to heal. We're going to have to repair and heal the body. So any what I call physical trauma, again, concussions. I mean, this is great for athletes. I'm sure most of them are scoffing down some omega-3 fish oils, and be it it's unproven or ineffective, it would be a waste of their money, and I'd rather see them heal. And this is just part of the protocol that takes our body to healing and to health, right? So I see it just as a valuable piece of the puzzle. So the omega-3 sublinguals as being a valuable piece of the puzzle for you, for our families, for people with neuropathy, for people that are with learning disabilities, children, especially autism. I just heard a story recently about the child saying, as an older child, that after being on just one bottle of the omega, told his mother, "I feel social. I'm more social." And I won't go further than that, but lots of results. Lots of very, 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 very good results, not just with the published research, but with other research too, and as well as just straight up, shares and testimonies that I hear all the time. So all things omegas, it will be Wednesday at live at 8 on Facebook, and then I'll be uploading it to YouTube. I will put the link on YouTube too as well, just in case you want to subscribe or go and watch some of the older ones, because there'll be some titles there. But I want to wish you a good night. I want to thank you for coming on, everyone. I appreciate it. And please do share this video, this information, and I'll look forward to coming on in a couple weeks from now. I might try and do these weekly. We'll see how it goes. But just getting the information out there and sharing it would be my wish and desire, so people can have more of an educated choice. So thank you. Take care. Have a wonderful evening, and best of health.